Welcome to the Network Plus Prepcast, your dedicated audio companion for mastering every objective on the CompTIA Network Plus certification exam. This series is produced by baremetalcyber.com. Physical security is one of the most overlooked yet essential areas of cybersecurity. When we think of security, our minds often go straight to firewalls, encryption, and password policies. However, all of those digital safeguards can be defeated instantly if someone gains unauthorized physical access to a system, server, or storage device. A stolen hard drive, an unsecured server rack, or a compromised workstation can lead to data theft, service outages, and even complete system compromise. Physical threats are not theoretical. They are practical, tangible, and frequently exploited in both targeted and opportunistic attacks. This is why organizations must implement strict physical security measures that complement their digital controls. It is not enough to protect systems through software alone. Real security begins with the ability to control and monitor physical assets to critical assets. In this episode, we focus on the physical controls that protect IT infrastructure, including access restriction mechanisms, surveillance strategies, visitor policies, and secure disposal procedures. These topics form a core part of both operational risk management and exam preparation. From door locks to data shredders, from biometric readers to asset inventories, each element plays a specific role in keeping systems safe from hands-on threat. Understanding how to apply and monitor these controls is essential for professionals responsible for securing information systems at the infrastructure level. Access control mechanisms are the frontline defense against unauthorized entry into sensitive areas. These mechanisms range from simple keyed locks to advanced biometric scanners. The most common physical access controls in modern organizations include proximity-based keycard readers, PIN pads, badge systems, and biometric authentication, such as fingerprint or iris scanning. These systems are typically integrated into centralized control panels that can log and manage access attempts. In high-security environments, you may also find manned security checkpoints, where guards verify identities, cross-records credentials, and oversee access during business hours or after-hours operations. Combining electronic and human controls creates a layered defense that deters intrusion and enforces accountability. Entry and exit logging systems are essential for maintaining visibility into who accesses secure spaces and when. Each time a user swipes a key card, enters a PIN, or passes a biometric checkpoint, the system records that event, along with a timestamp and user ID. These logs are often used in investigations following an incident, providing a timeline of events that can identify suspicious behavior. Integration with timekeeping and identity management systems adds additional verification, helping organizations align user activity with role-based expectations. For example, if an employee accesses a server room outside of their scheduled hours without valid justification, that could trigger a security review or audit. Visitor management policies ensure that non-employees are not able to enter sensitive areas unmonitored. These policies typically require that visitors sign in at a front desk, present identification, and be issued a temporary badge or access credential. This badge should expire after a short period or be manually disabled once the visit ends. Visitors are also often required to be escorted by a staff member throughout their visit, especially when moving through restricted areas. At the end of the visit, badges must be returned and visitor logs updated. These controls ensure that all individuals within the building are accounted for at all times and reduce the risk of tailgating or social engineering attacks. Securing server rooms is one of the most important aspects of physical infrastructure protection. These rooms house the devices that manage critical data, network services, and enterprise applications. Access should be limited to only those personnel whose job roles require direct interaction with server hardware. Entry should be logged and controlled through keycard, biometric, or multi-factor authentication. In addition to access controls, server rooms should include features like raised floors and cable trays to prevent accidental or malicious damage to wiring. Proper fire suppression systems, such as inert gas release systems or clean agent extinguishers, should be installed to avoid water damage during fire events. Temperature and humidity must be regulated using dedicated HVAC systems to ensure equipment health and uptime. Surveillance and motion detection systems enhance physical security by adding a layer of continuous monitoring. Closed-circuit television, or CCTV, cameras should be installed at all entry points, hallways, and high-risk zones, such as server rooms, loading docks, and equipment storage areas. These systems record activity for later review and can also send real-time alerts if motion is detected during off moments. When combined with access logs, surveillance footage creates a robust chain of evidence that can validate user actions or detect unauthorized movements. Some modern security systems include facial recognition or license plate tracking features to further identify and monitor personnel. Workstations and mobile devices must also be physically secured, especially in shared environments. Cable locks can be used to anchor laptops and desktops to desks, preventing quick theft. Docking stations offer a convenient way to secure and connect laptops in office settings. Screen locks should be enforced through group policy to automatically lock a session after a defined period of inactivity, and users should be trained to log off when stepping away from their desks. These simple measures protect sensitive data from shoulder surfing, unauthorized access, and walk-up attacks in open-plan offices or hot desk environments. Physical protection of removable media and portable devices is another critical area. Portable hard drives, USB devices, and mobile phones can contain large volumes of sensitive data, and they are often easy to steal or lose. These items should be stored in locked cabinets or secure drawers when not in use. Each asset should be assigned to a specific user and tagged with a unique identifier for inventory purposes. Encryption should be mandatory for all removable drives, ensuring that even if a device is stolen, the data remains unreadable without a valid decryption key. Organizations should also implement policies limiting what types of data may be stored on portable devices. Secure asset disposal is a cornerstone of physical security. Simply deleting files or formatting drives is not enough. Data can often be recovered through forensic tools. Devices that are no longer in use must be disposed of using certified data destruction methods. This may include overwriting data using government-approved wiping software, physically destroying the storage media through industrial shredders, or using electromagnetic degaussers to destroy magnetic fields in hard drives. Disposal events should be documented thoroughly, including the date, device serial number, destruction method, and identity of the staff member responsible for the action. This documentation may be needed for compliance, verification, or legal defense. Chain of custody procedures are used to protect physical assets during transport, repair, or decommissioning. Every step of the asset's handling, from initial collection to final disposal, must be tracked, with each transition between staff members signed and logged. Chain of custody documentation reduces the risk of theft, tampering, or misplacement by enforcing accountability. For example, if a laptop is being sent off-site for repair, the employee who hands it over should sign a form indicating the time, date, and recipient. When it is returned, another signature confirms that the asset has been returned in a known condition. These records also support forensic investigations in the event of loss or breach. For more cyber content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other podcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Effective physical security depends on knowing exactly what equipment you own, where it is located, and who is responsible for it. That's where asset management and inventory controls come into play. Every organization should maintain a current list of all physical devices, including laptops, desktops, mobile phones, servers, storage arrays, network hardware, and any peripheral equipment. This inventory should be updated in real time whenever assets are moved, reassigned, repaired, or decommissioned. Many organizations use barcodes or RFID tags to uniquely label each asset, allowing for quick scanning during audits and improving the accuracy of inventory tracking. Regular reconciliation checks should be performed, comparing what's physically present to what's listed in asset records, helping detect misplaced items or potential theft. Spare devices and backup equipment must also be included in physical security planning. Spare laptops, servers, or network components should not be left on open shelves or stored in unlocked cabinets. Instead, these items must be housed in a secure location with restricted access, such as a locked equipment room or a vault. This is especially true for backup media like external drives, tapes, or cloud gateway appliances, which often contain sensitive or irreplaceable data. Access to these storage areas should be limited to authorized staff and monitored through logging or surveillance. If backup media are stored off-site, the facility must meet defined security standards and should be included in disaster recovery planning. This ensures that physical access to redundant systems doesn't become a new attack vector. When equipment goes missing, it's vital that clear procedures are in place to respond quickly. All lost or stolen equipment incidents must be reported immediately to IT and security teams. Once reported, any associated access credentials should be revoked or disabled to prevent unauthorized logins. If the device supports remote wipe functionality, it should be activated as soon as possible. An investigation should be launched to determine whether sensitive data was stored on the device, whether it was encrypted, and whether the loss could lead to a compliance breach. Documentation of all findings should be maintained, both for internal tracking and for reporting to regulatory authorities if the incident crosses a legal threshold. Security zoning is another important physical defense mechanism that supports access control and risk reduction. The concept of zoning involves dividing the facility into areas based on sensitivity or operational function. Public zones, like reception areas, require minimal control, while secure zones, such as data centers or executive offices, demand stronger restrictions. Movement between zones should require increasing levels of authentication. For example, an employee might use a badge to enter the general office area, but need a PIN code or biometric scan to enter the server room. This layered approach reduces the risk of internal threats and ensures that a breach in one part of the facility does not give an attacker unrestricted access to everything. Power and environmental controls are often considered secondary to physical access restrictions, but they are equally vital. Critical systems must be protected from power loss, electrical surges, or environmental hazards like fire and flooding. Organizations should install uninterruptible power supplies to keep essential equipment running during short outages and connect important systems to backup generators for longer disruptions. Surge protectors are necessary to absorb unexpected voltage spikes that could damage hardware. Environmental sensors, such as smoke detectors, temperature and humidity monitors, and water leak sensors, should be installed in server rooms and monitored continuously. These protections prevent data loss and hardware failure due to non-malicious physical threats. To ensure consistency and accountability, organizations must document all physical security procedures clearly and in writing. These procedures should define how access is granted and revoked, how equipment is handled during repairs, how disposal is carried out, and how incidents are reported. But having a policy isn't enough. Staff must be trained regularly on how to follow those procedures. Training should cover topics like identifying unauthorized visitors, securely handling mobile devices, and following chain of custody guidelines. Random compliance checks can help verify that policies are being followed and uncover gaps that need to be addressed before they lead to incidents. These physical controls and strategies are not just operational best practices. They are also core exam topics. On the certification test, you may be presented with scenarios that ask you to choose the correct control to address a physical security concern. For example, you might be asked how to prevent unauthorized disposal of data-bearing devices, or what action to take if a visitor enters a secure area without authorization. You'll need to understand the function and limitations of tools like badge systems, access logs, and surveillance cameras. Familiarity with physical controls and how they align with cyber protections is key to success on this section of the exam. While cybersecurity focuses on digital threats, physical safeguards remain one of the most effective ways to prevent data loss and system compromise. A secure facility keeps attackers away from hardware, keeps users accountable for their access, and limits the exposure of sensitive assets. From locking down entry points to enforcing secure disposal policies, physical security helps bridge the gap between policy and protection. Without these measures, even the most robust network defenses can be bypassed by someone with physical access and malicious intent. To build a secure environment, organizations must combine physical and logical security practices. This means managing who can enter the building, who can handle equipment, and how devices are retired from service. Surveillance, logging, and environmental monitoring provide visibility and response capability. Secure storage and zoning help restrict access to sensitive areas. Regular audits, training, and documentation close the loop by making sure procedures are understood and followed. Together, these layers form the physical security framework that supports cyber resilience and regulatory compliance. As we've seen throughout this episode, managing physical security is about more than just locking doors. It requires a strategy that protects both the infrastructure and the information it holds. From asset inventories to power systems, from visitor logs to shredders, each detail supports the larger mission of keeping data and equipment secure. Whether you're studying for the certification exam or designing real-world security policies, understanding physical controls is an essential part of your skill set. Secure access, secure storage, and secure disposal. These are the pillars of a strong physical defense strategy. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Network Plus Prepcast, your trusted audio guide to the CompTIA Network Plus certification. This episode was produced by baremetalcyber.com. For more cybersecurity podcasts, books, and resources, visit baremetalcyber.com. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cyber Security Plus podcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com. And before you take the test, make sure to check out the practice questions in the book Achieve CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. They cover every domain and are a powerful way to lock in your knowledge.